All right, guys. All right, it is 2017 and it is time to revisit the Motorola Nexus 6. There are a lot of you that still use this device daily, regularly. It is your primary device. I know that it is. Is it in pristine condition like this? Probably so if you keep it inside of a case. But I say this device was ahead of its time. Here's why. Because today, 6-inch phones are a thing. You know, you want a really big screen and you want a small body, but the point is you want a big screen. This phone right here has a Quad HD display and it's 5.96 inches, which is basically 6 inches. 1440 by 2560. Fantastic. And then it has a camera that's 13 megapixel and it records in 4K. A lot of people require 4K. I don't. I kind of require 60 frames per second. That's something I would prefer that all phones had, but they all don't have it. And this one in particular does not have 60 frames per second, but it does have 4K. This has 3 gigs of RAM, which is totally doable in today's market. And a Snapdragon 805, which is a quad-core processor, but it's still a good processor. I don't have any problems with this device. Battery is 3,220 milliamps. More than enough to push this device. Now, I said earlier this phone was probably ahead of its time. This phone actually it's got a little water-resistant coating on it. It's got an AMOLED display, which we kind of like, right? We do, right? Comes in 2 variants, 32 and 64. This is my 32 and 64. This is my 32. The front camera is only a 2 megapixel, but it does shoot 1080p. And the cameras on here are definitely probably the weakest part of this phone at this point when I start to compare it to everything else. But this has stereo speakers. This also, and I remember this came out in 2014, this also has dual band Wi-Fi AC. There's not a lot of devices that came out in 2014 that had that you still would probably want to use today. Did I mention wireless charging? This thing kind of has it all. I think it's really nice. And more importantly, it's got the latest operating system. Yes, it's got the latest operating system. This is Nougat. And it's running solid. I don't have any issues with this device, man. Well, you can see it right there. Android Nougat. There it is. Nougat. So, with that being said, how's this device been performing? I've been secretly using this alongside my big dog right here, the HTC Ultra, and just all the other phones. I've been rotating the SIM. Well, since my last update, I revisited this last year in 2016, and with all the new updates coming out, you gotta, and this phone will get probably hopefully it gets every Android update as far as it could go. I hope so. But I've been using this for a little bit, sneaking it next to my HTC Ultra, like I said, and I think this phone is still very relevant, extremely relevant. Let me just, my review from a while back kind of hasn't really changed much. It does perform good, but the camera, I think, is still probably the weakest point on this device. Battery is not the weakest anymore. Battery used to be the weakest when I had it initially, the first time, like when it first launched. I had bought a 64 gig, and this phone definitely has improved in battery because of Android 6.0 and then Android 7.0, which is what I'm on right now. But 3,220 milliamps is more than enough to push this phone. The screen on here is absolutely gorgeous. The speakers are phenomenal. And if I just had to point out something on here that I pointed out in the other video, you can still see that it's there. It's that weak signal. The signal on this thing is definitely not the best. I get LTE, but in certain areas of my house, you can see there, it kind of just goes away. And I'm down to like 1 bar, 2 bars. But if I leave from my office area, it shoots up to 4 bars or 5 bars or whatever is there, full signal, and it lasts. It's actually pretty solid. Really good. So I just wanted to revisit this phone really fast. I'm not going to do a long, drawn-out full review or anything like that. If you can find this phone, you'll definitely be able to find it for a great price, brand new. And I just think it's totally still relevant. Think about those specs I just read. You pretty much get a 6-inch display. You get a little bit of water resistant. You get wireless charging. You get a gang of things that come along with this package. And initially, remember the 64 gig, I paid $700 plus tax, $699. So now, if you have this, if you wanted to get this phone, you can definitely get it at a great price. So I'll say this: if you're still interested in using the Nexus 6 in 2017, keep using it. And if you wanted to buy one, I definitely can still recommend this, because I wrote an article on smartphoneconversations.com. Maybe I'll link that in this description of this video. Buy yesterday's tech. When people say, oh, it's old tech, buy that tech. You'll get some great things. The speakers on here are fantastic. And yes, the battle that I should have done a long time ago was this phone against the Axon 7 or any other phone that has dual speakers or some kind of dual setup. But I can tell you that the Axon 7 is a loud device. It is clear sounding. I don't know if this phone can beat the Axon 7, but the speakers on here sound a little, the quality sounds different. You can tell the technology inside of here is from 2014 when it comes to the dual firing speakers. So still loud though, very solid, I'm telling you. So Nexus fans, I don't know if you're using the Nexus 6 right now. I don't know if it's going to actually get 7.1.2 or 7.1. I don't know. I'm just happy that it's even on Nougat, because it flows, man. It is very fast. No crashes, no nothing. See my signal up there? It was the same thing. Every Nexus 6 that I've owned, and I've owned 2, 3, they all have that signal issue. Like it's jumping up, it's jumping down. I don't lose service. It just kind of, you know, maybe that's just the way it's displaying there. Maybe service is still good, because everything is still perfect on here when I'm making calls and everything. I don't have any problems with it. It's just that the signal fluctuates, see, like it's doing now. There it is, a quick revisit for the Nexus 6. If you're wondering how it is on Nougat, you know, I didn't really dive too deep into that, but it's actually really good. I don't have a problem with it. I don't. I like that I got a clear all button up top right there. You see how many things I have open? See that? Yeah. Let's open something here. You can see that I actually can do the split screen. Split screen on a phone like this, a definite must. It's a must. You know, having split screen on a phone like this, yes, you definitely need to have it. 6 inches? Come on. It's your man Jay Will. I will see you guys in the next video. This is revisiting the Nexus 6 running 7.0, silky smooth in 2017. Take care.